Hi,
Hello,
Brendan,
hello.
Ken. Here we go. Now we see you guys
Good evening.
again. Hi,
Good evening.
everyone who tuned in. Good evening. Hi, my name is Everett. So glad we are here. Mental fitness section number 5. Wow. And today we have this very special topic. What can I do to improve my romantic relationship? And then how it can actually relate to emotion. Today we're gonna talk about romantic. Oh wait, men's talk, but we talk about romantic. Okay, so for those who tune in live now, you actually can join our section by just clicking the link at the comment there. We actually have our uh, back end team actually help us to actually put up the link there, so you can actually just click and can join this virtual room to share with us any language, English, Mandarin, Cantonese, 没问题, any language as long as we can understand. And we are here to actually explore more alternate perspective on people's lives, their journey, stories, and challenges every day, what we are facing every day actually. So today we talk about romantic relationship, and I guess most of us have our own romantic story, and today we're gonna see how to find out how is the way to improve the romantic relationship by kind of tips or anything. I don't know so sure. Maybe we can start with Mr. Ken now.
Last
Well, it
About
week,
this.
I
depends.
remember Ken wrote a book
Whoa!
this
Yeah,
topic.
yeah.
So I'm so excited to learn from Ken today.
Well, if anything, the book that I wrote more specifically rather than dating. What is romance? Romance is it's a different definition for everybody, right? So maybe start something with, right? Because it's a broad topic, and 1 hour is not going to be enough to dive deep into any topic. So you just touch the surface of everything. So what's the usual journey of a person when we're talking about relationships or romance or dating, right? It's you're 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 alone and you meet someone else. All right, doesn't matter, person of same sex or opposite sex, whatever your preference is. And but how to meet? Once we get through how to meet, then what do you do on the first date, on the second date, on the third date? And then if you're together, and then once you're together, what are problems that you face? And what are the challenges that you face? And then maybe starting a family, and if it's different challenges there. So maybe we just like cut me off if I go too long in any of this section here. And this whole journey might not be with one person, right? But it's a journey that everybody goes through, right? Somehow, some rather. So maybe for today, maybe anyone can just ask any question and I answer. But we'll start off with first how to meet another person, right? How to meet the person that you're interested in. Right? I think since I actually invited a female to came on board today, but unfortunately, I think she's got some other plans last minute. She texted me this morning, but I only read it in the afternoon, late afternoon. It was like, oh, I can't make it. I said, oh, it's okay, no worries, right? But since we are guys here, we'll be a little more biased. I wanted a female here so that we can have a different perspective. But since we're all guys
Yes.
here, I will be a little more biased. And maybe we start off with saying that how do we meet that person, right? And actually, for guys, right, for all the ego and all these what do you call this machoism or whatever, even if that's a word, being macho
The
and the ego.
testosterone, the testerone.
Find it,
Yeah, yeah,
translate,
yeah, yeah.
translate.
What is machoism in Mandarin? Uh,
猛男性格，
男
ego
大男人一点就是 commonly
ego
known as
and
大男
ego.
人
Usually
大
this
男
is
人
more
大男人 yes 大男
yeah,
人
yeah. I think so. Yeah, and a lot of people, actually, a lot of people is especially for guys. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I don't know about you guys, but I will first admit it. Every guy's dream is to meet with as many girls as possible. Right? There is an innate DNA in all of us. Otherwise, we humans, as a species. That's it, right? We're extinct, so it's built into our DNA. And I went through this journey of really long journey of actually trying to break it down into science and maths, which is this is what we were taught in school, right? There's a wrong and right answer. But then I finally realized that it's not, and I did try to break it down in my own way to understand it. So maybe we'll just start straight away, like how to meet people, right? A lot of people, it was like the of all these macho 大男人主义 kind of energy that men portray, a lot of guys are afraid to approach women because it's not because they're afraid of anything. They're afraid of they think too much about what are the consequences if she rejects me. What are the consequences if she has a boyfriend's gonna come and beat me up. It's all these thoughts that go through, right? So in this in the community here that I learned before, where we call it a pickup community. Pick up, in other words, how to pick women up. We call it a 3-second rule, right? If you see someone you like, you want to talk to her, 3 seconds. If you think more than 3 seconds, that's it, you'll fail whatever you say. Because you start to think too much and you start to think what are the consequences and all this, right? So imagine this, right? You're out walking on the street, you're lost, you ask for direction. And if you ask a guy, right, hey, how do I get to here and here? We automatically become natural in asking. But if it's an attractive looking girl, then all of a sudden we don't become natural at all. So and a lot of people they ask me, what is the best pickup line? I think that's the answer. And in a book, I actually wrote that as my first question. What is the best pickup line to use? And I leave the answer to the last at the end of the very page or the last chapter of the book, right? What is the best pickup line? Right? And sorry to disappoint, the best pickup line is just, hi, my name is, I'd like to know you. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. But a lot of people complicate it by thinking, what should I do? Oh, violets are blue, roses are red, I want to meet you, or whatever it is, right? We tend to complicate things a lot, but actually it's just as simple as going up and saying that, hi, I'd like to know you, right? And I had a story once, right, where I was in the UK, right, and we call this bar hopping. We hop around at night to different bars, and at that time, smartphones weren't even invented. Right? And I was out with this guy, right, this good friend of mine, and we went bar hopping, and he was just talking to every single girl that he meets in the bar, and then moves on to the next. At the end of the night, right, he came out, he grabbed into his pocket, and threw a bunch of papers on the table, right, and every single one is like crumpled, right, and I opened it and said, what is this? It's just random numbers. He said, it's all the phone numbers. All right, at that time we didn't even have WhatsApp or whatever social media, right? So these are all their numbers, and it was like easily 30 of that, and I was like, man, this is like the whole new world for me, right? And I asked him, what did you say? You know, what did you talk? I said, no, I just went up and get to know them and said, connect and then talk for a little bit and get a number and said minimum max tops 2 minutes, 3 minutes to 5 minutes, and that's it. I move on to the next one. They will not stay on there. So I think the first thing is like how to approach. Basically, it's more about changing our perspectives of it's as simple as building up the courage, go up and say, I'd like to know you. And she says no, take no as an answer. Like never take no as never ever take no as not an answer. Just take no as an answer and say, fine, move on, right? It's nothing complicated. So I think the most thing that people think about is the easiest part. For me, the hardest part is when we move on to meeting up and building attraction and building up to the first date. That's the harder part. And what to talk to, what to talk in the first date. I think before that, what is attraction, right? A lot of people, especially men, they think to get attraction, to be attractive to a woman, it's just these few things: money, power, status, looks, and yeah, I think that's it, right? And
That
a lot of
this That's right. There was this 5C concept, right?
Yeah, whatever the C means, right? It's basically like
Honor, credit card, charisma, something like that. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And this is the biggest problem that everyone and most men face is that they think of these 5Cs and they work hard to get this 5C just to get one girl. To me, right? As a women are more empathic, right? They follow feelings. They decide with their feelings. For men, we decide with our conscious brain, and that's it. And here's a quick experiment, right? If you ask a girl to watch football or soccer, wherever you're from, or sports, and let's take football as an example, like English football, they'll be like, "What's what's the meaning in watching 22 full-grown men chasing after one ball for 90 minutes in a big field?" Right? But for guys, it's like, oh no, this is like sports, we are into it. But as a girl to watch, they'll be like, ah. And it's the same, right? If girls or women ask us to watch drama, 100-episode drama, and we are like, what is this? It's all talking about the same thing over and over again. The same problem happens over and again. You cry, you laugh, you cry, you laugh. We were like, this doesn't make sense, right? But for girls, for women, they enjoy it. Why? Because they are empathic creatures. They follow feelings, and the drama itself, the ups and downs of the emotions, they are attached. They are more attached to it. For men, why do we like football? Because it's more about camaraderie, brothers in arms, fighting towards a goal, fighting towards an objective, going to war, right? So this is it's all built inside us. It's not easy to change because last time, thousands of years ago, men go out to fight wars and women stay at home to take care of the children. So it's just how it is, right? As long as you understand each other, the opposite sex, there's not much difference really in terms of physical features, except for certain organs between a male and a female. But if you're talking about thoughts and you're talking about sixth sense, women have more sixth sense than men, and they sense it. Any guy friends out there listening to this right now, it's another simple experiment, right? When we're maybe now or maybe when we're younger in our dating lives, we tell our partner, all right, be it wife, girlfriend, or someone that or a female friend, I say, oh, I'm going for a guy's night out, right? And that's it. And sometimes we lie because we're going to meet. There are other females in that group that we're going to meet or something. And every time when we're only really going out for a guy's night out, our phone will never ring. That one time that we lied about it, our phone started to ring. Where are you? Video call right now. All right. Why does this happen? It's a common thing. It's a common thing because women have sixth sense. They're empathic people and empathic creatures, and they have this sense innate to them. And it's there's a reason behind it as well, right? I'm going too long now. I should cut myself. Where are we at now? Right. How to meet, right? How to meet. Look, I've had more failures than successes. Just like anything in life, not in relationships. I had more rejections in approaching than actual people, actual girls that want to talk to me. But it's just part and parcel of life until I build up that, to take away that anxiety and fear. Now, when I approach, I get failures as well. But what do? I live with it. I enjoy it. How do I enjoy it? Here's an example, right? It happened 2 times. First, I was at a bar. I met this girl. I went up to talk to her. She was like, "No, sorry, not interested." All right. Then I went and talked to the girl beside her and said, "Hey, she just rejected me. All right. Can I get to know you?" And she came and talked to me. And the girl, the first girl, that was like, I felt uncomfortable at first and all that, but I was comfortable at the time, right? Another situation was I went and talked to her friend instead. She's like they're friends together, right? I went to talk to her. She rejected me and said, "Sorry, no, not interested." Then I went and talked to her friend, right? And we started the conversation, and it was like so awkward for her. And I was having fun. I was just having fun. The key is to have fun, right? And it's not something to hurt her or humiliate her or anything, right? And I because as long as you don't feel any humiliation in getting rejected, that's okay. Just part and parcel of life, right? But here's the thing: a lot of guys, when they get rejected and when a girl replies to them and says no, not interested, they think it's their fault. that's where the ego part of guys come in, right? There's so many other reasons that she could not be wanting to talk to anybody because she had a fight with her friends. She had some problems at work or something, right? There's so many reasons. You don't have to think, oh, I approached wrongly. I spoken wrongly. I thought for more than 3 seconds. That's why I failed, right?
Maybe some of them might just want to say no and see your reaction.
That's where I'm getting to, right? This exactly, right? And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. The more attractive a woman is, right, the more she had to put this shield up. Because imagine, it's very difficult and very hard to become an attractive woman. You got to approach every single day. You're taking a cab, you take an Uber, you go to the shopping mall, you go to and more if you're going out drinking to pubs or clubs or social. You gotta approach every single day. And imagine that feeling is like if you ate something and you felt sick, the next time when you see the same food, you had that reaction in you. That's exactly how they feel. It's it's another type of this guy that is coming and talk to me. So they had to put this shield up. I call it mind my language, I call it a beach test, right? They have to test whether you're affected by her rejecting you or not. And those that pass the test, that's her kind of filter for people to come in. Otherwise, you'll be too what do you call it, time consuming and tired to be dealing with every single one because just ask any girl there, any woman out there, right? The number of messages that they get compared to us guys, the number of messages that we get, right? The phones will ring non-stop, and it's all from the it's just part and parcel of life. It's just natural. And the more attractive you are, the more you have to put up this kind of shield. But there's a counterpart to it, right?
Filter.
It's a filter. So just don't be personal about it. Don't have to think and so forth or anything. It's just normal filter, right? And how to accept that and how to break through that filter. And to break through, like I said, to break through that filter, I did other sorts of things. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? The demeanor that you say it. You can copy the exact, which is what I did. I tried to copy what that person that had 30 over numbers. I said exactly what he said, and I get totally different results. Why? It's how we say it. Will we say it with confidence? Are we actually pretending, or are we actually what do you call this? Being natural, right? And
Yeah,
saying
being
what I'm
nature
saying.
is the thing. Yeah.
So you just gotta be natural, right? And it doesn't matter what you do. You just strike up conversation, and eventually, and you have to be you gotta be passionate about your own life first, because passion is contagious. Then they can feel that. When you're meeting up, you want something to be like happy, easygoing, right? Yeah, and you want that energy to escalate up rather than escalate down, right?
So the key here we'll get from Ken is actually you have to settle down your own emotions and thoughts inside your heart first, right before you approach, right? Because once if you just study from the books, try to memorize all the keywords like, you have to say this, try this, and then do this action or whatever. But once you're there, you do different things.
Or you could be doing the exact same thing of what the book tells you, but the way you're doing it, the way you're expressing yourself is different, right? I can say I love you in 3 different ways, and it just creates
3,000 different ways.
And it creates different emotion every time, right? Like I said, and I always like to say that attraction is not a choice. It means feeling is not a choice.
Attraction is not a choice.
We gotta pull it out by what we do. So I think that is the first part. Just be enjoy yourself when you're going out and trying to meet people. You get rejected, that's okay. All right, move on.
Yeah,
right?
I agree with Ken saying that this enjoy yourself is very, how to say, as per our experience. I think we have our own family now. And our experience is like, if you enjoy the talk and the fun part with the others, as long as it is an attractive lady, or is a normal lady, or is actually a guy anyway. If you want to be romantic, you have to be yourself, right? Guys, I think at least you are not trying to pretend you are the other guys. You are not pretending yourself like I'm could be
Someone
like,
else.
someone else. Guys, if you're doing whatever you say, you can have plenty of tons of your own story to tell, then your eyes will shine, right? Correct.
So exactly, here's the thing, right? You got to be passionate about yourself and be passionate about everything else when you're communicating with her. You can be walking on the street and all of a sudden you see a cigarette butt on the street, which is a normal thing, right? You could be like, oh, this is the most amazing cigarette butt I've ever seen. That itself is contagious. That moment there, that 2 seconds itself. Oh my God, look at this, look at this. Hey, look at this cigarette butt. It's the most amazing cigarette butt I've ever seen. Have you seen this? That itself connects at a higher level, right? You're trying to build that attraction for her to connect or something to connect. It doesn't have to be like, look how much money I have, look what car I'm driving, right? And it can be, right? But if you are enthusiastic about cars, by all means, say this I have a V12 horsepower, blah blah blah, whatever it is. But if you're not enthusiastic and you're trying to impress her because of that whole energy becomes, they know, they can smell bullshit from a mile away. Like I said, they have sixth sense.
Confident, yeah, the confident. Yeah. You need those materialistic to build up your confidence. Then, that's the people you met lah. I mean, and that's those people are attractive lah.
So
I also have, here's the thing, come.
Here's the thing, right? We mentioned what most people perceive women attracted to, right? The 5 C's: wealth, status, looks, and all this. Trust me, you gotta take this out and throw it out. Otherwise, every time when you approach, you feel like, I don't have this enough, then the confidence is there, right? It plays some part. Yes, wealth, looks, and all this, it plays some part, but it's not the majority of that.
It won't stay long, right?
I would say it
could be a good startup. Oh, you have drive a nice car, you get a good looking. Okay, we can talk. But could be after 10 minutes, I have different
exactly
and thinking on you already. Yeah.
So I would say it only plays like 10% of the total thing. The remaining 80 or 90%, it's all about your own attitude and yourself, right? Here's the thing: can you be rich and wealthy overnight? Can you be good looking overnight? Can you have social status or whatever it is, whatever that means, right? Or overnight? No. But here's one thing that you can change, right? It's your attitude, your passion, yourself, and
you are who you
emotions.
are. Yeah.
Your emotions. Yes.
Yeah.
So just before, that's right. Wow, if only I got all these advice. Wow, life would be so much different. But just before, those of you who are married, just before you tune out, there is part of the show for you as well, right? Because getting a romantic partner in the beginning is exciting. It is very, very exciting, and that's where the energy is. However, for those of you who have been married for a while now, right, you understand that having a romantic relationship does not mean one night stands. Does not mean getting different girls in the pub, right? It means having a deeper, more fulfilling romantic relationship with your spouse. And today, since Ken talked about the first part, right, I will be filling in on the second part. And what I think would improve your romantic relationship would be, first of all, your emotions. Our emotions are so big part of us, and unfortunately, many people they don't share their emotions with people around them, which they should, but instead they share pent up, lousy emotions that have been built up for years within, right? And unfortunately, this comes up when there is a trigger at home. Unfortunately, our spouse is the person who gets the worst of our emotions, right? It could be something very, very small, but because of our internal emotions that we have not processed, because of our internal emotions, which we don't even realize. Sometimes they just get it. You know, why did you not turn off the light? You know, something so small, but it will ruin the entire day, right? Ha- Have you realized that that is happening in your life, right?
Yeah.
And the faster you realize, the faster you are aware of this, the faster you can take steps to overcome it. That's why, through your voice, we provide a vocal biomarker service. Through 5 minutes of your voice recording, you understand what emotions are buried deep within. Why? What is the root cause of what you're experiencing on a day to day basis? So, for those of you who have not tried out recording your voice, I highly recommend you to do so. But today, I also would like to share some tips, right? Because that is our topic today. What can I do to improve my romantic relationship? Um,
Yeah.
I would like to encourage you to, for those of you who love to read, right, pick up this book by Gary Chapman called The Five Love Languages. Have you heard
Uh-huh.
the book before?
Love language. Okay.
Correct, correct. So many times I realize that people actually have their romantic relationship stunted or not moving, not progressing because they don't realize that they are speaking different languages of love. Have you tried conversing with anyone in a foreign country before? Have you tried talking, requesting for something that food in a foreign country in Japan? Are you frustrated with the response that you get when you don't understand their language?
Yeah.
Nani? What? What is this? What is this? They just don't understand. And because you do not understand that language, you do not get what you want. So today, I just want to share very quickly the five love languages, right? Because many couples, after being married for some time, they think that they know what their spouse wants, but actually, it's just what they want. So, by learning these five languages, by exploring what your partner truly speaks, what love language do they speak, you get better, you improve your romantic relationship. So, to cut to the chase, right? The five love languages, the first one, it is the act of service, right? Doing something special for your wife, for
Mm-hmm.
your husband. It could be something simple for taking out the trash, taking out the rubbish, right? To cooking their favorite dish. That is basically acts of service, right? So, second one, gift giving. Some people love to receive gifts, right? So, if you know that your spouse, your wife, your husband likes specific things, even if it's something small, even if it's just wrapping paper, get the wrapping paper. You will save many, many, many frustrated nights just because you remembered that she likes something and you give her that, right? And of course, the third one, which most men, this is the love languages of men, is physical touch,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I like that.
First hug. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool. So physical touch is a very important element in relationships, right? So, ladies out there, if you know that your man likes physical touch, right? Yeah, speak the love language, right? And of course, the fourth one is quality time. Very often we neglect this, especially for those of you who have kids at home running here and there, right? It is so easy to be just so focused on everything else in life, but neglect the person that shares most in your life, right? Quality time. Arrange date nights, right? It could be once a week, it could be once a month, but block out that quality time, right? Everything in life needs our time, wants our time, right? Meetings, investment opportunities, TV shows, YouTube, Netflix, movies, right?
Crypto.
Crypto, yes, exactly. Cryptocurrency. Whether it goes up, goes down, but we need to block out blocks of time to invest as quality time with the loved one, which you worked so hard, which you went through, I don't know, 50 emails just to find that right one to get married with. And you need to invest that time with that special person in your life. And of course, last but not least is words of affirmation, right?
Mm,
Words have power. The words that you use on a daily basis will decide the life that you lead. Ask yourself, what words are you speaking to your romantic partner? Are you using not appropriate words? Are you using words that are unappreciative? Change those words and observe the results. I encourage you to. So, quick summary, how many love languages are there? Five,
five already. Yeah.
right? There are five love languages, and it is your responsibility tonight, whenever you are rewatching this video, to check which love languages. I understand that you might have one, but that is not that important as what love languages your partner is having. Invest the time to explore, because once you find out their love language, just like once you learn Japanese, right? When you go to Japan, you order whatever you want. So, number one, acts of service. Number two,
Act of service,
gift giving.
gift giving,
Number three, physical touch.
physical touch.
I love that. All right, in case my wife is listening. And for quality time,
Quality time.
yes, block out time in your schedule. And it's a joint effort. I understand it's not easy, especially if you have a few kids, right? But that's what your in-laws are for, right? Invite them over, take care of the kids, give them an excuse. And of course, last but not least, words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. Yeah. Any sample?
Sure, darling, I acknowledge you for being there for the kids.
Mm.
I acknowledge you for spending the time going through their homework with them, even though you're tired.
Oh, thank you could be a good word because of what action.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because of what action is very important. Because sometimes I feel like if I just speak about thank you, but that this is like just how to say it, it's just another word but without any objective. Or sorry because of nothing. What you just did, but you said sorry. But sorry about what? Nothing. I don't know.
Exactly. This is exactly what Ken shared just now, right? I love you can be shared in so many ways. right? Have you ever said, okay lah, okay lah, okay lah, okay lah, sorry lah, sorry, 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 okay, sorry, sorry.
Sorry for what? Sorry lah, okay lah. Stop already. I say already.
Yes, yes. And if that's when you get into trouble. If your spouse love language is words of affirmation, and if you use those words, sorry lah, sorry lah, sorry, okay, sorry, 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 you will get yourself into more trouble than you can ever imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Agree. I think most of the guys here, especially because we are new and then we actually share a lot of experience that actually have a lot of similarity. So we say thank you and appreciate for Ken to share about this incredible how to kickstart your romantic relationship with those I would say stranger. There's a very kind of challenges, and then about Brendan sharing about how to make your couple's life, spouse life, to inject back the romantic relationship in the lifestyle that we have in our, despite we have a lot of challenges like our working, and then we have to catch our lost schedules with kids and families, right? And I do agree, we need actually to learn to take action to have this romantic action and to have this romantic in our lives. But most often we have this pattern in our life, have this behavior in our life, especially when we speak and doing things with our very close families, because they are the people build up a lot of experience before, so we have already had a very fixed pattern most of the time. And that's the crucial challenge. I would say there's the critical part, that how can we overcome to change it? Because it's like, okay, take a very good sample. Like, I usually talk a language like English to you, Brandon. Then suddenly we talk about Hokkien. And suddenly we talk about Hakka in another group of people. Everyone is talking about Hakka. Then suddenly I talk with you Hakka. So I feel a bit weird, we will feel a bit weird about that, because we are using a new language to talk to each other, while before that we are using the same language at all. We feel comfortable. Yeah. So the question is, how can we make the very first step or second and third step together? You can advise to actually break through this barrier, break through our life pattern with our spouse, or maybe the life pattern when you facing another new female ladies, because I believe most of the people, if you first time you do this, second time you usually will do the same thing because you have this pattern, you haven't changed, you haven't got the skill or strategy to change it. So maybe you can share some experience, like how you overcome this. I mean, from your own story or your own experience, like in a short way, how you actually overcome the time to change your pattern, change your behavior.
It's actually communication, I would say. Communication does not mean that you have to speak the same language. Communication can be eye contact, can be sign language, can be just looking at you and doing certain things, or can be writing words. It's communication, right? It's how we communicate. And when you mentioned that, well, maybe if you face difficulty in a family when you used to speak a particular language, family, and when you get married, all of a sudden, then you speak two different languages, and you're back to that family, you're speaking that language. How do we break through that barrier? Is that what you're asking?
Sorry, what I mean is the language is just a sample. It's the pattern that we talk to each other. Let's say the Mandarin I talk to you is like Malaysian language. Hello, 你好, 吃饱了没有? 吃饱了, okay. But it's like other people's, when I talk to client, hey, 你好吗? 你吃饱了吗?
Yeah.
Okay. that kind of different. But if I suddenly change that kind of style to my family, if you feel a lot weird, you're like, wow, you're treating me like other people, other party or something like that. But there's the problem. This is the issue from our language. Sometimes we use our very native and the language, right? The wording and the structure we use, right, is always offensive. 你没吃饱啊？你没吃饭吗？ Don't you eat this? Why don't you eat that? I thought you already food. The kind of like offensive
All
language.
right,
We can't change the pattern.
I totally understand already because you're so used to, like in a particular place, you go to five-star
Yeah,
restaurant, you're used to being polite. You go to a street food, you're used to like
yeah,
bargain, or you go to market you
yeah,
can go to a supermarket to buy stuff. You don't bargain, you just whatever the price you pay.
yeah.
You go
Usually we,
to you
we
go to
stuck on
the
the romantic relationship. We stuck on this.
yeah.
The language we can't change.
Okay, I got a very good example, right? And this example is what I used to, what I tell a lot of people as well. Back to the part where if you're with somebody, whether in relationship or you're pursuing after her, whichever way it is, and you break communication for certain time because you had a fight or had an argument or whatever it is, right? Save her number, don't delete it, but don't keep bothering her like a stalker, right? After 2 months, 3 months, 6 months is someone that you like, but that you haven't had a relationship or had a short-term relationship. Save her number. After 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, she'll forget about that kind of, because it must be a bad feeling for the
Yeah,
two people to
time
break up,
time we
right?
do it. Yeah, time we do the work.
That emotion is still there when you relate to that memory, and that memory is gone, right? That emotion is gone as well of that negative feeling, right? So
Wiped
wait a
out.
few months, then all out of the blue said, "Hi, how are you?" There's a chance for you to change because you're now a more evolved
So
person, right?
time.
And the way you
Yeah.
talk and all this. So I
Interesting.
would say time off, right? And depending, right? If you're married, probably because of kids. You see that in a relationship, I see three stages of relationship, and a lot of people they're stuck at stage two without going to stage three, or rather, forced to be in stage three. Now imagine these three stages, right? The first stage, dependent. The second stage, independent. The third stage, interdependence. Now, what is dependence? Dependence is what I call honeymoon period, right? Imagine your first love that you're together with that person. I wouldn't say first love. Any relationship, when we started, in the beginning, you can never do anything wrong. Whatever you do, you can never do anything. You can never make each other angry because that's the honeymoon period when you're in love and all this. So it's like everything you do is perfect. Right?
Lovebird stage.
Yeah, exactly. So lovebird stage, honeymoon stage, and every relationship is the same, right? And
How about second stage?
that is what I would call dependence, and then it leads to I need to call you every day, or else something is off. Like if without you, I will die. No, if you leave me now, I'll commit suicide. That's the dependent stage as it goes longer. And whether you break it off from there or you continue on depends on whether you can move on to the second stage, which is independence. Right? Independence means, I mean, we all know what's the story behind honeymoon period. It always ends. It always becomes stale or it ends. So once that becomes still or ends, then it goes into, and you're still together, then automatically you go into independent stage, which is you have your life, I have my life. You have your work, I have my work. You have your friends, I have my friends, and you both live. You could be living together, right? But you're living separate lives, which is how it's supposed to be. I mean, imagine, right? No two people can live the same life or move on the same path. Imagine even children and parents, you can never have the same life. They wouldn't want it, definitely, right? So that's where we reach the independent stage, and that usually tends to lead to a very stale relationship if they cannot enhance further to stage, which is interdependence, right? Well, that's good and bad for dependence. One is, yeah, you're too dependent, you're lovey-dovey, that spark is there, but it could lead to forcing two people to live
Burden.
together, right? And imagine, yeah, if I force you to wear a pink dress, right? You can wear it, but you're forcing yourself to wear it, and that leads to a negative way. When you go to independent stage, there's a little bit of positive and negative as well, because okay, you are not relying on each other. You don't have to do everything together, but it tends to lead to a very stale relationship where you have your life, I have my life, and we are just cohabiting without any spark. And for the ones that really want a long-term one, is where we reach the third stage, which is interdependence. Interdependence means there is a dependence element and an independent element together, which means that, and usually what I say is most people they are forced to reach this stage is they have you two people, they have their own life, their own group of friends, their own path, their own career, whatever it is, their own hobbies, which are separate, but they have an objective in common that they're pursuing, but albeit using different routes to that objective. And most of what's happening is children. When two people they get married, they have children. That is their main objective. That becomes the same objective for two people, but they're living independent lives to raise up the children as best as they can. Right. So, and for some people, it could be an objective of buying a house or whatever it is, right? Or objective of getting out debt free, or objective of starting a business together, or objective, whatever it is, as long as there is a common objective, common goal, that itself can lead to a lasting thing. But back to Ewert's question, what you're saying is, if you're so used to talking to someone in that way, it's very hard to just all of a sudden just change the way you talk, right? I would say again, communication does not have to be what we say, right? Communication means, here's the thing, try giving unconditional love once in a while. You can't do it every time. I can't do it every time, but just try giving it once in a while. What is unconditional love? A lot of relationships is conditional. Means I love you, but I want you to love me back. I love you, but if you don't love me, I'm not gonna love you. That's a condition there itself, right? And the only thing that most people give unconditional love to is to their children. Although it's not two-way, because the children usually they would never care until they become a parent themselves. They were like, oh, what can my parents give me, right? You just take. But parents just give without asking for anything in return. That's unconditional love. But to a spouse, to a partner, try it once in a while to give unconditional love, where, like what Brandon said, you give something, be it words, be it gifts, be it anything, but unconditional. It's like, I'm giving you something on our anniversary, but I'm not expecting anything. All right. Don't even be secretly expecting it, because then you get hurt yourself, and that whole thing doesn't become natural. Right. So try giving unconditional love once in a while. The way you talk could be like your natural self, but they can see through it, because when they receive something unconditionally, they know. Right. And we can be so patient giving unconditional love to our children, giving everything they want, even though they don't appreciate it, or we think they don't appreciate it, but I bet you they don't appreciate it when they're at a younger age, and but they only appreciate it when they become a parent, which is like
Yeah,
long road ahead.
yeah.
We can
But the
do that.
seed
Why
is
not?
planted.
Sorry.
Sorry.
The seed is planted.
Yeah,
The seed is there, the memory is there. No one can take it away from them, from your
yeah.
children,
Agree.
forever, because that
Yeah.
memory and the seed is right there. So it's the same thing when you talk to your spouse and all that. You've done some unconditional love. That memory and that seed is there, and it's planted there forever. Nobody
So
can take that away.
unconditional love could be one of the strategy to break the barrier, right? So although we have the same language all the while, so doing unconditional love, you could be spark something romantic, sparkling, sparklers to help you change the pattern, right? How about Brandon? Brandon, do you have any suggestion like to how to break the barrier of this common pattern of our speaking with our families, our spouse, so that we can actually achieve more romantic in our relationship?
All right. For the audience that is watching, if you have a burning question in your mind, type it in the chat, right? The
Yeah.
moment we see it, we will be addressing any question at all, right? And I would like to expound a little bit on what Ken mentioned just now, right? And I would like to share a quote that I found to be very useful in my relationship, especially with my wife, would be love. It is not about looking at each other, right? Because but it is about looking at the same direction together. I repeat,
Mm-hmm.
love is not looking at each other, but looking at the same direction together. So, why do I say this? Because early in the relationship, we think that love is all about looking at each other. Oh, hulang saya. Oh, wah, hulang loi eh. So it's all about looking at each other. But as you journey together, you will realize that not so much looking at each other, but looking at the same direction is more important, right? What are we doing with our kids, right?
Life partner.
Correct, correct. 20 years from now, right? How do we want to retire? You know, what are some of the vacations that we want to take together as a family? So it becomes very less at looking at each other because come on, for those of you who are married more than 3 years after the honeymoon period, you know you know that love is about looking at the same direction together. And the more aligned you are, the more opportunity you will stay in love. So, yes, again, I would like to encourage those of you who are watching. It doesn't matter if you are watching this on a replay, just ask a question and we may get to your question.
I see. So the key is here is actually to look to the same direction so that we can feel that the life partners are together.
Correct.
Together.
Looking
time.
the same direction. Yes.
Same direction. Yeah. If we look at each other, most of the time, you will look and found even more, right? Even more than.
You'll find flaws if you look at each other too long.
Too long, you will find flaws. Yeah, of course. If you're giving out unconditional love, flaws is okay. But look too long, it will dry up your your passion. Could be your passion. I will say this is a very good quiz for those who married, like Brandon said, more than a few years, right? To remind a very good reminder, saying that to have this romantic relationship is not just like looking at each other at all, but looking at the same direction also quite important. But how to balance it is up to you. It's very subjective, right? Because we can't say that just look at the same direction but not look at each other. What happens if your spouse, you don't care, look at the same direction? Okay.
Balance.
Yeah, it's a reminder. Very good. Cool. Is there any question drop in? No. Okay. So far we have so many input today about this romantic relationship. Whether you are wanted to have your new relationship with a new partners, or maybe you are having you want to improve your real romantic relationship in your existing partners. I think you can get a lot of inputs today because we have these tips of these 5. Just now Brandon shared about these 5 what is it called? 5 love language, right? 5 love languages. Yeah, 5 love languages that you can actually make use on your life now. Actually, act of what is it called? Act of service. Yeah,
Yes.
act of service, and then the sense of touch. All this. Okay, and then can also share about all this experience, how to actually get start to talk to talk to all these ladies partner and female partners, so that actually the most important thing here, the key here is actually to ready yourself. Build your own self-confidence. To have your own way.
Be authentic.
Be authentic. Yeah, that's the word there. Be authentic. Yeah, very good to hear that. So, and the most important thing at all, your emotion is play very, very great roles in this part, because if you have a good emotion, you can manage it on a good way, then only you can be nature. Because you be nature, but your emotion is in the anxiety or in a very high intense, then you couldn't help on your romantic relationship, because you can't control yourself, because you could be overreact, you could be too you are not that calm. The energy will actually bring to another. Yeah. So emotion is the most important thing. And how to improve your emotion? Usually come back to the very first step is the awareness. Awareness, yeah. To be aware, you can have plenty of ways to do it. Of course, the most straightforward is get to your family and talk to them, and then ask them how you feel about me. You know, and talk to people you love. They will actually give you the best suggestion. You have to know what's your status now. But you also can try this way, like using these tools called this voice for help. Right, it's a very good tool using the AI based technology to actually can be give you this insight of your emotion by just using your voice. Yeah, no others different what they call treatment or kind of weird way, you know, just your voice, and then you can have this big data by you can have your own report by these two digesting all the big data. Yeah, from this also you can actually improve your physical health, right? I believe.
That's right. That's right. So just 3 minutes of your voice, you can actually find out your physical, your mental, and your social health, right? So scan the QR code below
I see.
details.
Yeah. So awareness, remember, awareness always the first step, so that you can actually have a full insight of what you have in your mind, because our mind recorded all this emotion, not recent only. It's the past few years since you born. Correct, right?
So the human mind never forgets, right? We think that we have forgotten certain things that happened to us. However, the human body always remembers, just like a tree, right? And just to close, I would like to awareness is a gift, right? And you do not have to go through that awkward feeling of somebody telling you off when it is too late. You are every time also like that. Every time you explode, right? You don't have to go through that awkward feeling, right? So just through your voice, this report will actually show you your blind spots, what you have not noticed in the past, perhaps some of the emotions that are still not processed internally, and that
yeah,
may lead to disease.
yeah.
Disease. And if you
Oh,
realize, 写华语的人，疾病都是心字旁。当你心里面的情绪没有被处理，它总有一天会变成疾病。
yeah. All it start with awareness. You know?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Brendan, for the great sharing. Thank you, Ken, for your great experience as well as the sharing. Ken, do you have anything to add on?
Now awareness is always important, which is what we
Yeah.
stress every episode. Emotions, awareness, self-consciousness. It's all part of how these are the tools that are given to us. It's not inherited or anything. When we are born, we have this right in our brain, and it's just whether we want to use it or not. All right. What is the best cure for a drug addict or an alcohol addict or gambling addict? They go to a support group. There's no medicine for it. They go to a support group and they sit around, and what do they say? Hi, my name is Ken. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, my name is Ken. I'm addicted to gambling. And what does that? We see this in the movies, right? And I mean, it's everywhere around the world. People are practicing this. Why? It's not just because you have other people to support you. No, the other people are just there to show you that you're not alone. But the first thing is you talk to yourself and be aware of it.
That.
Once you're aware of it, and then we move on to I mean, we all addicts one way or another, right? I always get addicted to things that are fun. I always get addicted and that I neglect my job, my work, and all that. All right, it could be women, it could be gambling, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs. I've tried all that, but one way or another, somehow, when we know that, when we are self-aware, we find a balance.
Yeah.
Somehow
If you're self-aware,
life.
you start to make progress. If you're aware about that, but you try to escape from it or run away from it, then you're stuck there. Just that simple, right? Yeah, lovebird, Brandon.
So
Okay.
we hope that after this episode, you will be able to find your lovebird in your life more quickly with Ken's advice, and
Yeah.
also rekindle your romantic relationship with the lovebird that you found all those years ago. Remember,
If you can't, it's okay. All right, just drop the comment
Yeah.
in this channel wherever you're watching it
Mm.
from, Meta or Facebook or Google. Right, just drop or just say anything and tag my name or whatever it is. I'm sure our backend director will revert that to me. I'll give you my personal email and we can
Yeah.
communicate
Or
from
you
there.
even
Yeah.
you
You're not
yeah, or
alone.
even if you have more to share with in your own romantic relationship that you can actually benefit others, you can actually share here. This is a very open discussion for everybody to share for everybody. Different perspective, please welcome. Thank you everybody and good night. Bye bye.
good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Oh, the topic next week.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about the topic. How about the topic next week? How to improve your life without spending a single dollar or pay for any courses. Oh my goodness. In,
Wow, interesting topic next week. Hey.
yeah, improve your life without spending a single dollar is actually talk to the how to say this century people. When you switch on all, I mean all those social media that come up all those ads like, oh come on, please don't you don't need to actually spend for years for come to our course about 3 months 3 days scouting, instant gratification. Okay, so next week, Wednesday, same time, we're gonna talk about how to improve your life in different angles, different perspective, without the most important thing, without spending a single dollar or pay for any courses. Cool. I want to learn it. Bye bye.